GECOM has repeatedly explained its position in relation to this matter. The National Registration Act, Chapter 1908, clearly stipulates the procedures that must be followed for the registration of eligible persons and the removal of persons from the list. Moreover, there is a 2019 court decision by the Chief Justice. That's the case of Christopher Ram. You all would have been, most likely, during 2019, you would have heard about that decision. And the Chief Justice, that decision was never repealed. It was never appealed, in fact. It was never appealed. It's the law now. The Chief Justice ruled that we cannot remove the names from the list. Simply put, and notwithstanding any agitation by any stakeholder, GECOM cannot act beyond its statutory authority. So, as far as I can see, we cannot remove persons' names off the list unless we have proof that the person has died or for some other reason.
At this time, we meaning the Secretariat, have not been mandated by the Commission to formally engage in preparations for the conduct of those elections. That notwithstanding, we are aware of our responsibility as it relates to ensuring that we are prepared and ready for the conduct of elections as they are constitutionally due. I do not see such preparations, the activities associated with such preparations, posing any difficulties for us at the Secretariat, considering that the procedures for the conduct of those elections have not changed. They are the same. We know what we have to do. However, there are some prerequisites which do not require directives from the Commission. For example, we have to do training. Training per se does not form a part of the electoral cycle, which usually spans about 6 months. So in that regard, we are currently reviewing the manuals for, in the first instance, presiding officers and polling day staff. And in the second instance, we have completed the first manual. In the second instance, we are looking at the manual for returning officers and other management staff like the clerks and the deputy returning officers. That exercise is likely to be completed by the end of next week. After that, our focus will be to move to identifying persons to be trained to work for the elections, starting with the appointment or rather the training of trainers for appointment to go into for the training. We're likely to advertise for those persons during December so that the training of them could be done in January. Then we will move to the management staff, that being candidates for the position of returning officers, clerk to returning officers, and deputy returning officers. Those of you who may be aware, the law has now authorized that 3 regions be split into sub-regions, for which what is called supernumerary returning officers will be appointed, and this is all to facilitate allocatized tabulation of the results in those huge districts. Of course, in order to facilitate training, for which Manuals would have to be given to every single candidate to be trained. We will have to move to production of manuals, which would be done through the required procurement procedure. Those manuals, this is something that we have not done, but the law now requires that we publish election manuals on the GECOM website. That will be done upon these manuals having been deemed as finalized.